previously on Alone in the Dark.
Those cracks! They came out of his body like they were alive!
Get a grip, Hammett. The path of light's finally within our reach.
Edward.
Who said you could talk?
Mr. Scarf, take the rag doll up to the roof and kill him.
Consider it done.
My God. Who the hell am I?
Get in. We went through a lot of trouble to get you and that stone together, Theo. You'll be our light bringer.
What the fuck is that noise? Leave me, Edward! Save yourself!
Have you seen the walls? They're alive, like in nightmares. They open up and swallow you. I swear I saw it.
Anna, it's Jack!
Who are you?
She's one of my hosts now, as you once were.
What are you talking about?
You forgot, but not to worry. I still have the keys to your mind. Now give me my stone!
I don't have your stone, and fuck you anyway!
And immediately we are foisted into our first fight of the game against the formerly living female apartment dweller. And while she does try to use her feminine wiles to beguile us, we don't want to let down our guard. Because as you can tell, she is a pretty fierce customer. Before we start the fight though, we are going to want to pick a weapon to defend ourselves. Wouldn't really recommend the chair though. It just does not have the lasting power we need. Instead, if we poke around the living room, we find a much better weapon in the form of some handy Hanzo steel. And with this, we can start to learn the very basic melee combat that this game has to offer. First thing you want to make sure and do, though, is to lock onto your opponent because, for the most part, the enemies in the game are pretty quick. Secondly, you're going to want to get yourselves pretty acclimated to the fact that you are going to have either one of two attacks that you can possibly do. You can do a strong overhead attack, or you can do slightly quicker side-to-side swipes. I usually find the overhead strikes to work a lot better, though. Especially in the mostly confined spaces we're going to be fighting in. Thing is, though, just beating up your opponent is not enough. To fully finish them off, you are going to have to use fire. And while you think this should count, it, I guess, technically doesn't in this case, so we are going to have to do a little bit of maneuvering with the body. And with that, that first hurdle is taken care of. Now we just have to deal with this other problem, and that we are slowly being engulfed in flames, so don't really have too many avenues of ways we can leave this apartment. But the more keen-eyed player might notice this shocking little piece of electrical wiring that is going to be pretty useful for rappelling upwards. Yeah, really the game is pretty good about giving you little hints about where you should go next. Sometimes, though, it's a little bit less subtle about where you might need to go. Just need to make sure and time this jump properly. Because still for right now, a large portion of the danger is just the environment itself. So it seems we do have someone else we might be able to save, and, well, I think it might be good to join them, considering we have another corridor of fire that is slowly making its way towards us. Thankfully, I do a little bit better in knocking down this door, though if you are in a pinch, you can use the fire extinguisher, but let's just go.
Christ, it's about time. What the hell's going on? Sorry, I'm Sarah Flores. I'm an art dealer. I was here to meet a client for... You're not a cop, are you?
Your guess is as good as mine. I don't actually remember anything prior to waking up this evening. Not my name, my address, nothing.
Great! My rescuer is more fucked up than I am. Hello? Can anyone up there hear me? Police?
Stop
Anybody?
shouting! They're probably dead, or worse. Something else might hear
Something
you.
else? You know what? Rats don't give a shit about us.
You haven't seen what this son of a bitch does to people.
Okay, that's enough. The only son of a bitch I see here... Holy shit! What are those things?
Rescue squad, apparently.
What the hell was that? I think I'm all right. Are you okay?
Quiet.
Let's see if we can get out of this elevator.
What's this shit? Come on, help me up there. Don't try to take advantage of the situation.
Don't flatter yourself.
I guess it's not just the open wiring that's causing some sparks to fly here.
What a mess. What do you suppose happened here? The building looks like a war zone.
Even though things did not work out for these poor policemen, we do get a little bit of additional good luck here, in that we do finally get a flashlight.
Damn.
And it usually is a good idea to keep the flashlight on, even though, well, it does have kind of a limited life. It's very dependent on the batteries that we have managed to pick up. Just a bit curious, though, what exactly attacked these policemen out here. I guess if we head toward this door, we don't have to really worry about it. Or we do. Say hello to our second enemy of the game,
Get away from me!
and ones that I would highly recommend not trying to fight in a melee situation. Instead, we are going to use our gun. And I do apologize, in my just sheer terror, I kind of had a brain fart and forgot to turn on the flashlight. The good thing is that the game is, I guess, kind of lenient, and it does have a little bit of auto-aim, so hitting these very small jumping targets is not too difficult. It's just that a flashlight would help, and it finally does strike me. Wait a minute, I probably should turn that on. It also strikes me that I probably should still be under attack by the enemy. It's just, yeah, the poor little guy managed to get himself stuck in some geometry here. And I was almost worried that I wouldn't be able to kill him and continue on.
Leave me alone, you freak!
Good luck for me, bad luck for him. So yeah, we are going to want to continue following that pretty evil-looking monkish fellow. It looked like he was heading through this door over here. With one slight problem.
Looks like the power's out. We need to turn the electricity back on.
Yeah, we are going to want to turn on the power in this lobby here. And it does look like there's a fuse box in this little office. And this fuse box is going to be our first real, I suppose, QTE of the game, where we are going to have to use our hands to do a little bit more than we should. Yeah, at times the game wants to be a little bit overly interactive, and instead of just doing something simplistic as hitting A to do something, you instead have to kind of maneuver your hands to do some very extraneous things. We'll be seeing more of that in the future. For right now, we have another pretty agile human-type enemy to deal with. It's just that this time around we don't have to wait for a scripted event to get some fire. Instead, if you get the opportunity, it's usually better to not even deal with the intricacies of the game's combat, and instead just use the enemy's natural weakness of fire to your benefit. I actually do like the fact that the enemy is actively scared of fire. There's probably a good reason, because it seems to hurt pretty bad. Additionally, it worked out in our favor that the enemy kind of cowered into this corner, because it does allow us to pick up some hidden away items here. And if we take a quick look into our voluminous jacket, it's not standing on fire, we can see, well, as more and more stuff starts to fill up our jacket, it's going to be more and more necessary to be able to control properly where we are looking in our jacket. So we have plenty of batteries, we have a little bit in the way of bullets. One of the things that we did just manage to pick up were some glow sticks for some temporary lighting, and even more important than that, some explosive plastic bottles. Those are probably going to come in pretty handy in combat in the future. It's just for right now. Well, actually it strikes me, I think there might be a few more additional items in that office. I do highly recommend that you do try to pillage and loot whatever you can. Resources can sometimes be a bit scarce in the game. So we find a canister of bug spray that I think you can use as kind of a pseudo flamethrower. That is in case you do have another additional item, and we do find some extra batteries. But since the power's back on, we should be able to actually, yeah, it's not the best place to just be hanging around. But yeah, we now should have access down to the parking garage. We have a little bit of a puzzle here. I think what you were supposed to do is maybe decipher, I guess, one patch of blood is thicker than the other. It's just, I don't know, it's a bit hard to discern which one is thicker than the other.
Can you go down first and see if the path is clear?
I taste your fear. So many questions.
And I suppose you're the answer man, shithead? Who are you anyway?
Join me. No more pain. No more fear. You only have to die.
You're quite a negotiator.
Get away from me!
So we get a little bit more inkling about, I guess, the overall thought process behind the enemies we've been fighting, at least the humans anyway. Seems that after the humans are drugged down into the fissures, they come back possessed by some almost hive mind-esque, I guess, entity. And it does seem to know us, though, well, Edward is still suffering from the throes of amnesia, so yeah, sadly, the answer man here is not really going to be of help to us. And I guess I wanted to make this a bit of a fairer fight. It just kind of strikes me in retrospect that it's not really worth doing most of the time. It does kind of bring up the question, though, of whether or not some weapons are more powerful than others. It seems to be the case. It's just there's no real good way to tell. I mean, it's pretty clear whenever weapons or items have different durability, but as to whether an axe is any more powerful than a piece of, cinder block, it's a bit hard to tell. Still, after all that, our pathway down is finally cleared.
Man, I hope nothing worse is waiting for us down there.
Nothing really too dangerous down here. Don't assume that the fire has any way to spread amongst all this concrete.
I'm so glad you're back, Edward. They attacked us. I managed to lose Crowley, hide here. But he'll come back for the stone. My God, I never thought I'd see your face again.
Take it easy. You're hurt. You know him?
No, I don't think so. But then again,
He doesn't recognize me. I'm Theophile Paddington. I'm sorry, Edward. The ritual was so hard on your psyche. A large part of your memories have been sacrificed in the process. Crowley is the one behind this chaos. He made me retrieve the stone.
Theophile, if you know me, who the hell am I?
No time to tell you everything. Now that he's free, we have no choice but to follow the path of light and stop him before he swallows the entire city.
Hey, you can catch up on old times over beer another time, okay? We're not safe here. Let's go.
Now, with the monsters banging at the door and Theophile slowly bleeding out, it is very much necessary for us to get out of here as quickly as possible. And, well, this car seems as good as means as any to get out of here. Well, we're gonna have to figure out some way to, I guess, get through this locked door here. And, the game is nice enough to tell us that we can use our gun to possibly break through the window. It's just, well, I do want to kind of save the few bullets we have, and there are a few melee weapons we can use to break the glass on the door. And you would think that that might be a easier way to go. It's just reality, it's a pretty finicky operation. Kind of had to hit a very sweet spot with most of the oversized melee weapons that are down here. With that, we can now get inside and start to learn the intricacies of driving. First thing we want to do is to find a key. In this case, there was one in the driver's side visor.
What the hell? Oh, shit!
Then we want to step on the gas and get the hell out of here.
Theophile, can you hear me?
Edward, keep driving.
Now, one of the main gripes that you'll probably hear most often with this game is in regards to the driving.
Not supposed to collapse.
That's a bit ironic to me because the developer of the game, I think Eden Games, mostly were known for making driving games. Just it seems that the, 7 driving games they managed to make, most of them were pretty horrible. And, well, the driving in this game is not great. Not to say that it is unplayable, it just takes a little bit of finesse and a little bit of practice to really get down properly. Thankfully, the game is pretty good about teaching us some of the basics here, especially the basics of, well, needing to slow down around pretty tight corners and dealing with plenty of debris.
Do we have to jump over this?
Let's see.
Hey! Yes, I like your style. They're coming! Floor it!
All right, all right.
Here's more of them! Run them over! Come on, Theo. How are we going to remove the blocks?
Yeah, through a bizarre bit of fate, we did manage to survive that crash, and I do have an idea of how to deal with this blockage. It's just the first thing we have to do is find a lighter.
I'll be fine. We must reach the park.
What is it about the park?
You'll soon know. You're part of this now.
Thankfully, we do manage to find a lighter on the shelves here. It's just that we have finally run out of inventory space. And, at least for me, I think the easiest thing for me to drop right now are some batteries. Now, we do already have quite a bit of them, so I don't mind dropping this half-empty box.
Edward, we need a car to get out of here!
Because, in all reality, the lighter is going to be a very useful tool for us throughout the game. Case in point, it's a pretty easy means to make fire.
Edward, we need a car to get out of here!
And now, it's just a matter of finding a car, which shouldn't be that difficult in a parking garage. Not that this darkness is really helping us that much. Sadly, it seems that the gods are not smiling on us in regards to finding a car, though there is light at the end of the tunnel, it seems. Yeah, there is a nice working car just on the other side of this door. And there is just a bit of burnable wreckage that we just need to get through. Seems easy enough to deal with. But it appears the fissures are not done with us yet. And, well, it might not seem like it, but this fissure here is kind of difficult to deal with. It's a bit hard to tell how exactly it hits you, and it's just so fast, and the camera kind of works against you that you might be kind of thrown off about what you need to do. I find, though, that kind of running in a circle, as you could probably tell, did kind of work, but I wouldn't recommend doing that for the most part. And hey, we finally get a first aid spray. After all that fighting, all that fiery damage we've taken, very nice that we're able to patch up some of our wounds, because they are becoming quite numerous. Yeah, I think it's time we get out of here.
You can come now. It's safe. I found a cab.
Usually when the headlights are on, that's a pretty good indication that the car is currently turned on, so you won't have to look around for the car keys. Yeah, with all that out of the way, I think we are now safely able to get out of this wretched apartment building.
My God, it looks like a war zone.
It's the epicenter. I have unleashed a wickedness that waited centuries for revenge. This is what I released you from, Edward. What was trapped in the stone.
And now it wants it back. What's with this fucking stone?
It's coming! To the park, now!
And with that, we are going to need to drive like our very lives depend on it.
Hurry! We must go to the museum before he's gathered an even larger army.
Whose army? What are you talking about?
Everything okay?
No, it's not okay. He's hurt bad and I'm losing my mind. I bet that was a fucking 10 on the Richter
Damn it.
scale.
Look, I didn't tell you to come along.
Shut
if you
up.
think it, both of you.
Hey, take it easy, Theophile. Let's just put the gun down, okay?
You're the only one that can stop this, Edward. I'm just too weak. You must proceed down the path of light like you've been preparing to do for your entire life.
What is the path of light? What are you talking about?
Here's the stone you've carried for so long. It's mostly harmless now, but it still has power in the right hands. You're our only salvation. I will not be your puppet! Do you hear me? Meet me at the museum, Edward. Room 943.
No!